What's up, guys? It's AJ Leon at ajleon.me. We're on our Rise of the Cubicle Farmer Road Trip, and right now we are in Portland, Oregon, hanging out with my buddy Sean Ogle, and we're going to talk to him a little bit. He's got a very, very interesting story, and we'll link his website and his Twitter and all that so you can connect with him. But we're going to talk a little bit about where he was and how he's living his life now, because he's got a really, really, really unique perspective. So, Sean, how you doing?
Good.
So where were you 2 years ago?
2 years ago, I was in your very typical corporate job, suit and tie. I used to joke I'm the only person in Portland, Oregon that actually had to wear a suit and tie to work. A couple years out of school, and I realized that that was not what I wanted to be doing. Like, the whole corporate thing was not for me. I was a finance major. I got a finance job, but really the only reason I studied it was because I wanted to be able to start my own business in the future. And I figured that was going to be more difficult to learn than the management marketing stuff.
Sure.
So it was around that time that I started thinking, it's like, you know what? I want to do something different. Like, I can't handle this anymore. So
what made you? Because you were unhappy at your job. I mean, we talked a little bit, in the last few minutes. What were the elements that made you unhappy? Like, why were you like, this is not for me?
There was a couple of things. One was I was in a business that was very old school. They had an old school way of doing things. The company had been around since the 60s, and not a whole lot of change since then. And so I was coming in with this very, technological, modern, new media background, and I said, I want to do this kind of thing. I want to start a blog. I want to, connect with social media. I want to go find new ways to bring in clients and new ways to make sales, and that just didn't really jive with my employers. Yeah. And they, no matter what I came up with, they just weren't really feeling it. So I think that was one big fundamental difference between me and them that just, it was never really going to work. That and just, not having the freedom to be able to go, get my oil changed on a Tuesday.
Yeah,
it's
sure.
when you're sitting there just 50, 60 hours a week, banging your head against the desk, it's like when the highlight of my day is being able to go work out during lunch. That's kind of that's when something's not right.
Yeah, so. Sure. And you actually presented a proposal to work remotely, work shifting and all that to your boss. How did that process go? And
well, it was a smaller company, and we, I came on board with this company when the market was at 14,000, top of the market, and we all know the market crashed a few years ago, and so all the financial businesses were struggling a little bit. My boss came to me and was like, if you have any ideas for creative ways to save the company money, things like that, then we want to hear about it. So I had this idea because I still had the travel bug. I wanted to go see some new things. I wanted to do something different. Yeah. But I knew there was a way to be able to do that within the company as well and help everybody. And so, I came up with this agreement where I agreed to take close to a 50% pay cut so that I could go move to Hawaii for a few months. My best friend had been living in Hawaii, and I had to hear about it, and I said, you know what? I can do
a 50% pay cut. You put that.
It was probably 40, 45%.
Awesome. Okay.
And I detailed, how I could save, how this would save the company money in other ways as well. And so, I said, I can do 90% of my job from anywhere. The only thing I can't do is be in person in meetings and answer the phones. Yeah. But everything else, you're going to get the same amount of work for, way less money. Sure. And it's also going to expand the horizon of the company. And there was all these things that were going on. And in the end, it just didn't really jive with what we were doing. Like I said, it was a small company of 4 people. So yeah. I do understand, why, it couldn't have worked. Sure. But I figured it was at least worth a shot. Yeah. And when it didn't work, I ended up leaving the company right after that. And that definitely ended up being for the best because it allowed me to start pursuing all the things that I wanted to inject into that company that they weren't really feeling. So,
well, let me ask you this. Something that is really interesting about your story, I think, in comparison to everyone else we're meeting, is that 6 months prior to leaving, you actually launched your blog.
Right.
And you started talking about kind of some of the things that you're passionate about, what you want to do. How did you, what did you want your life to look like in comparison to what it looked like at the time? And B, why did you do that? Was it an intentional thing? I'm going to do this, 6 months later I'm leaving, or was it I just needed?
So I had a turning point. February 2009, I went down to Brazil with a buddy of mine for a carnival. And I used all my vacation time to do it. It was a really big deal. I planned it a year in advance. And I was walking down Copacabana Beach on a Wednesday morning. And I was like, I want to be able to do this, whatever this is, whenever I want. I want to be able to travel. I want to be able to, be free. I don't want to have to be at a desk at any specific time. And so it was at that point I was like, you know what, I'm going to find a way to do this. And within weeks after returning, I found Chris Guillebeau's blog, The Art of Nonconformity, and this was actually the first blog I ever read. And I remember sitting there and I, read every single post for like 4 hours.
Yeah, dude hits home runs.
Yeah.
Chris, like, he goes for the fences.
Exactly. And so after that, I was like, this is how I'm going to change my life. I'm going to start a blog. I don't know how this is going to work out. I don't know, how starting a blog is going to change it. I just know that this is what I need to do. And so I met up with him. He gave me some advice,
But you, I mean, you reached out to him. It wasn't,
Yes.
you kind of got over that. He may be bigger for me. You asked him, hey.
So he had just moved to Portland from Seattle. And so I sent him an email, said, hey, here's what I want to do. You want to meet up for coffee, kind of thing.
That's huge, because a lot of people, like, you don't have the courage to hit up people that are, those that that can maybe help you, but, that's
and that's one of the things I've found is, like, if you don't ask for it, you're never going to get it.
Sure.
And, that's been just being able to reach out to people and not be afraid to say, hey, you know something that I want to know, or, you're better at this than I am, and being willing to ask those questions and talk to people is huge. And so I think finding his blog, meeting him, that's what got me to start the blog. And then it was definitely, a little scary because, if they find out that I'm writing about, wanting to change my life and do different things, then, obviously they're not going to be too happy about it. And I still don't know if they ever found the blog before I left or not. But I know that it was because I was able to start that and build up a community of passionate, supportive people that I was able to follow through with it. And just about every big opportunity I've had over the last year has been because of that blog.